everybody, and welcome to the Magic Show. I'm your host, Evan Irwin. Today I come to you on the heels of my performance at the StarCityGames $1,000 Open. This event attracted, I believe, 87 players, quite a bit more than anticipated. But before I begin, a few notes. Note number 1. Demon Fire is officially the best spell in Standard. Put it in every deck that you want to win with, except Fader, which is practically the only deck that can effectively deal with it. Say it with me, folks. Circle of Protection Red is not enough. Thank you. Number 2. Fireman Angel is dead. At least it was in this event. I saw exactly 0 Fireman Angels all day long. Lightning Angel has taken her place. Number 3. Bogarden Hellkite is the number 1 creature right now, and I'd almost go as far to say it's better than a Chroma in the metagame. It clears their board, or it does 10 to their face. I'm really truly scared when someone finally puts Momentary Blink and this guy together. So far it hasn't happened. We can only hope. Hellkite during your instep, attack, blink, flashback blink is 20 damage. Ugh. Finally, I must share this anecdote. After round 1, I was wandering around checking out the various decks. Then I saw something I thought was truly innovating. Mono Black Gauntlet of Power. Now, it's no secret I'm in love with the Power Glove, and to see it there with a Stronghold Overseer of all creatures in play, man, it was awesome. The guy then tapped a whole bunch of swamps and basically reversed the sands on his opponent with a huge Consumed Spirit. His life total was now something like 24 and his opponent's 3. He had another Consumed Spirit in hand. So his opponent was playing blue-white-red control with a Sacred Mesa and a ton of tokens on the board. However, if you'll notice Stronghold Overseer's special ability, these guys were pretty well hosed. So, given this situation, what was the only card the blue-white-red player could have possibly drawn to stop his opponent from winning next turn? I'll give you a hint. It isn't Demon Fire, as the blue-white-red control player didn't have 25 mana available. I'll tell you what the answer is at the end of the show. Now, on with the tournament report. Here's the deck I played. It's the same top 8 deck that Tiago Chen used at Worlds, also known as Solar Fires. However, due to my complete inability to find Hallowed Fountains, I had to go without and use a Darkheart Wastes instead. Thanks to my abundance of signets as well as basic lands, the mana base was never in danger, and I never felt that the Wastes or their replacements, a Gemstone Mine and an Azorius Chancery, held me back in any way. However, not being able to find a Hallowed Fountain after Flagstones hits the bin is truly a tragedy. I also changed the sideboard around a bit, as I wasn't too worried about losing the Ivory Masks, and hey, I got to play with more of my good buddy Captain Tickles. Don't you just love him? Round 1 entailed mono-green aggro, something akin to a buy in most situations in terms of Tier 1 decks. Now, I'm not trying to be cruel, merely honest. If you're reliant on an aggro archetype, you simply need an extremely powerful draw that is resilient to both Lightning Helix and at least 2 Wrath of God in any single game. To my opponent's credit, he did get me down to 1 life in Game 2 with a double Loxodon Warhammered Silhana Ledgewalker. That was scary. However, Sacred Mesa soon took over, and combined with a few Cortisars and Lightning Angel, it wasn't long before the match was complete. One more point on this matchup as well. Notice how the most important finishers today have Flash, or Haste, or Inevitability. The ability to quickly deal damage or warp the game around a single card's presence is something rarely seen in low-drop aggro decks. Now, Savannah Lines is the most important creature for aggro matchups, as 2 damage for 1 mana is simply too good to pass up. It's also why Samaru will be hanging around Extended forever and then haunt Legacy like a mutt who was once fed but now abandoned. Until you get Troll Ascetic back in 10th edition, who at least throws a monkey wrench in today's removal-drenched environment, I would suggest staying far, far away from mono green. I know this makes Joshua Claytor a sad panda, but some truths are self-evident. You know, a rumor I read in the forums a few weeks ago spoke of Wrath of God being replaced by Final Judgment in 10th edition, and, to be honest, based on my experience in the metagame these past few weeks, I wouldn't be completely against this. Condemn and Faith's Fetters, along with Temporal Isolation and Lightning Helix, do a fine job of keeping creatures under control in the early game. Amping up the Wrath requirement to 6 mana would be music to many aggro players' ears, of course, and cause many control decks to design themselves differently. Part of me wonders if we'll ever truly get rid of Wrath in Standard because, well, partly because it's tradition, and otherwise R&D gets the real litmus test of the most powerful aggro strategies. Quote, can you survive long enough to Wrath? is probably an oft-heard phrase around WotC headquarters. Round 2, I hit blue-white control and was absolutely certain that I was in for a bad matchup. However, never doubt the power of Demon Fire, which won me both of the games necessary for the match. In the first game, he overran me with Pegasi, along with the awesome play of repealing a Signet and countering my lethal, previously Hellbent, Demon Fire. This is one of those cool interactions that some players miss, and I commended him for it. He didn't have such a trick, unfortunately, for the other lethal copies. Now, I don't recall who I played in round 3. I know I beat him. So, whoever this person was, I'm sorry. I'm sure you had a nice deck. Round 4, I played Red-Green Land Destruction. Boy, this was fun. His deck consisted of 4 main deck Cryoclasm, 4 Avalanche Riders, 4 Stone Rain, and Scrying Sheets. Karsten Bot Baby Deathkill 3000 lives on. Viva Land Destruction! Round 5, now at 3-1, I played a gentleman by the name of John Winters. He was playing, quote, Shifty deck, which was basically a whole bunch of odd utility creatures like Teysa Orzhov Scion and, wait for it, Sekuar Deathkeeper. $5 says you have no idea what card I'm talking about. It's this one. Take a look. You know what happens when you Court of calling out this guy in response to a Wrath of God? That's right, you get a 3-1 guy for each other creature destroyed. Not too shabby, huh? I sat next to John in the first round. His opponent was playing Snow White, a deck so damn annoying it should be awarded medals, and was berating him. "Give up, man," John's opponent said. "I've gained more life than you can attack for. Are you going to concede? Can't you play faster?" And just around the 15th time this prick started complaining, John courted out a Safi with Soul Warden out, and Crypt Champion gave him infinite life. His opponent scooped. It was awesome. So I referenced this before our match to let him know I knew what his plan was, and as such figured I had a good upper hand. A key Lightning Helix can cut off his combo and I can wrath away the rest, and that's pretty much what happened. However, he got a little land flooded in both games and cried endlessly about how much of a luck sack I was. A little tip on the Magic maturity scale: don't ever call someone who beats you a luck sack. It shows either how little sportsmanship you have or how little experience you have with the game. Not a good thing either way. Round 6, I was faced with the mirror match via Charles Anderson, who eventually took second place. He, unlike myself, was not bound to a Darkheart Wastes and was running the appropriate Hallowed Fountains. Must be nice. Game 1 went down to the wire as I failed to Lightning Helix him in response to Cortisar being thrust down as the last card in his hand. This let him pull Remand from the top 3, and he killed me with a lethal Hellkite swing when I would have won next turn thanks to the life gain. Game 2, he brought in Annexes and I didn't, which was an unbelievably huge mistake on my part. I deserved to lose this game. I should have known better than to leave him in the board. Lesson learned. Round 7, I had the best tiebreakers for any 4-2. Winning this round would inevitably put me at the top of the 5-2 standings. My only losses were to guys who went undefeated and were drawn into top 8. Unfortunately, the only other guy with tiebreakers as high as myself was my friend Sean Mack, who was playing a really interesting Reanimator deck that sideboarded into Dragonstorm. Yes, really. Want to see what happens? Check out the match below this video. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, even after that great match, I ended up in 9th place. Yep, only those with 16 points or better made it, so I was out. Bummer, eh? Okay. So for the answer of that anecdote, the blue-white-red player takes a deep breath, untaps, draws, and calmly plays Circle of Protection Black. Oh my God, can you believe it? Who in today's metagame would ever find room for COP Black in their sideboard? Everyone around lost it, and after a well-drawn Demon Fire aimed at the head of Stronghold Overseer, the Pegasi won the match. Classic indeed. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for Top 8 action live later this week.